Okay. This one, I think, the next one is it's a bit of a deep topic. It says K-pop is way too public of an industry. It feels like there is no such thing as privacy and no one respects it. If an idol gets backlash, even for something innocent wasn't their fault, they should not be made to apologize and appease the public. And there should be stricter boundaries in place for protection. Yeah.
Agree. Hard agree. It's like you see the Notes app apologies for like Western celebrities is always because they were like sending nudes to a minor, and then like the K-pop ones are like, sorry, I touched a girl once. Like, who was that? It was a 17 member. There was like a video of him like playing around with a staff member, and he like picked her up, and everybody was so mad. I was like, come on, he's having fun. Leave him alone. He's allowed to like touch women. Like,
respectfully, of course.
Yeah, she was having a great time. I was like, you go.
As long as there's consent involved. Okay.
And it wasn't even sexual. They were just like teasing each other.
Playing around. What, like, if you're not going to be hanging around your members, you're just going to be hanging out with the staff. So you build a rapport that way, you know?
But like, my point is, it shouldn't be the same thing. There are YouTubers getting canceled for like being attracted to minors. And then it was either like Mingyu or Wanwoo, I don't remember. It was one of them. Just having fun with a girl, and they're just not allowed to do that because they're idols. I'm like, shut up. Shut your mouth.
I miss seeing back then. Oh God, bringing it back to old K-pop days. But like, remember when groups used to interact with each other and it doesn't cause a problem? Groups of the opposite sex, I should say, interact with each other and it's not a problem. If anything, like, I kind of sort of miss shipping culture in terms of like, ooh, remember when 2PM and Girls' Generation were like a thing, when that unit happened and everybody's like, so who's actually attracted to each other and who's for real and who's just playing along, right? I kind of miss that because it's just like, God, they're like I was just like, since when did cooties be a thing again?
I know. Since when is like every man and every woman attracted to each other? Like,
they could simply just be friends.
Yes. We don't Harry met Sally this shit. We have platonic friendships all up in here. So everybody just because somebody is having fun with someone of the opposite gender doesn't mean they're dating.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't mean it's not okay. Just because it's not going to be you doesn't mean you have to get mad.
Right. Or it's just like, in general, like, following them or following these idols to these private places, or like even weddings, not whether it's their relative or a staff members, like somebody who's part of their staff getting married, and following them to these events that are supposed to be private. It's one thing if you're actually attending the wedding as like, somebody and then you leak it, that's different. But like, if you're just like skulking around in these places that are just like, oh, I know that they're going to be here, or even just the whole culture of flight information, knowing that.
Don't get me started. Oh my God. When I learned how terrible that was, I wanted to die.
Like, it's just, where is their privacy? Even following to the lengths of getting the same flight just to be in the same proximity of these creepy, idols. Dude. It's so creepy. Like, leave them alone.
You're not going to have a YN moment, I promise you, in an airport. Have you ever been to an airport? You're just tired. Like,
it's tiring. You get yelled at, and
you're not meeting the love of your life in an airport. They're not gonna fall in love with you just because they see you.
Like, everybody is annoyed with the airport process. Okay, we don't like going through customs. We don't like having to go through the baggage check. It's necessary,
and you look like shit the whole time because
exactly. Like you like once like they walk through the airport doors. Yeah, airport fashion is a thing, but they change literally right after. They're like, I'm getting out of these clothes. I like want to be as comfortable as possible on this flight, because guess what? I'm just going to be sitting there. I can't eat. Some flights, if you have business or first class, yes, you get to lay there. But like, for the most part, you're just sitting there. and it's uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. And like,
but
just
yeah,
like, stop.
Yeah.
Give them their time to just, you know, either spend with their family or friends. You don't need to follow them to the restaurant. I like, you know, it's another thing where like, oh, this idol went to this cafe or whatever. I'm gonna go there now. Doesn't mean that they're gonna return to it.
Right.
Like, they're busy too. They're not going to go to the same place over and over again. And if you see them roaming around, be respectful.
Yeah, I mean, it just all goes back to agreeing that it is too public of an industry. They push the idol idea too hard that it makes people like actually delusional. And I think that has gotten even more prominent over the years.
Oh, especially going back to like how we talked about, like, you know, there's easier access. You can talk to them.
Right.
Through VLive or Weverse or Bubble or what's the other one? Is it?
Universe? It is Universe, I think. Yeah. So it's just like the lines get blurred, and if people don't have enough, I don't know what the right word is for that. You don't discern enough that this is fan service and you are not special. Like, I know that's a harsh way to put it, but you're not. You're a fan. You're not special. You're just somebody that buys their shit. It causes this delusional thinking that like, oh, maybe I can like meet them and they'll fall in love with me. And that's not like your immediate thought, but your only thought is to like go find them. And it's like, it doesn't work that way because you don't actually know who this person is. You don't know this idol. They put on fronts, and a lot of times they are bad people. You just don't know it. So it definitely there should be more privacy, and these companies should do more to make things more private.
And also like, you know, we already hear like, it's one thing to get malicious comments, you know, and these companies are like fighting for this, and you know, they're like, hey, anybody who does this malicious content, we're coming after you. And while that is good, it should just like also like, come on, need to protect them more, because you know, rumors still will fly around. You need to also like, there should also be this whole idea of, okay, this thing is happening. The idea of protecting your mental health of your idol, of the person who is working for your company, is so much more important too, because this is traumatizing. You have to teach them how to handle, you know, being in the public eye in this realm. And so it's just like
being fucking mobbed at the airport. I saw a video that like everybody was like, I feel bad for being like, hell yeah, but like this girl got too close to Yosang of ATEEZ, and his security guy just like fucking decked her. He like clotheslined her, and she just like fell over. And I was like, well,
was like,
you do something stupid, you get stupid results. So this is the consequence of your own action. You get fucking clotheslined by a giant man. Like, this is your fault. Like, I don't feel bad for you. Right. So if you do stupid things, stupid actions, stupid consequences.
Mm-hmm. Or just like you're not only putting yourself in danger, you're putting so many other people. Like recently, was it when Stray Kids was going from Korea to America to embark on their US portion of the tour, Jisung fell.
Yeah, he got injured, right?
Yeah, he like, because there's so much pushing, he fell on his arm, and you can just see he's like cradling it like this. And I'm just like, isn't that a time where like, as soon as, like, not saying like it should happen, like it should have happened, because it shouldn't have, but like if you see that happen, shouldn't the C part, you know, just like more space. If anything, because he got hurt, it just
because they only care about themselves. They don't care about him as a person. They care about him as the idol and getting close to him.
I will just say Chan was so pissed. You could see it, even though he had a mask.
I hope he would fight someone. These idols need to get more fight. Like, I know Yuta from NCT, like whenever there's like a Sasang, oh my god, he's savage as fuck. We need more of this energy.
Who was it? Is it Tobey Maguire from like, get the fuck out of my way to the car? You know, when Spider-Man was out back then, just like, leave me alone. Kind of need more of that energy.
100%. Like if the company is not going to protect them, I want the idols to break their like image and tell people, shut the fuck up, get the fuck out of my way.
Please.
Because who else does that? Suga does that. I think Jimin also does. When they start getting mobbed, they're like, fucking move. Like, do not come near me.
No, absolutely. Like, no, we're not doing this today. Absolutely not. Ugh. Anyways, yes, just leave them alone. Leave them alone. Please. Please. Give them their privacy. They deserve it. Just like how you want to be private with your things and you don't want to
decency. It's human decency to give someone privacy. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. So, second/third gen groups, even if they are inactive or disbanded, still deserve recognition for their impact. I think with the constant influx of new groups that are hitting milestones way faster than it happened in the past, older groups that don't exist anymore just get overlooked, even though their contributions to the culture and atmosphere are huge. One of my favorite groups, FX, had some of the best visuals and experimental sound, but didn't really get credit for that or get involved in the conversation, in my opinion. So I would love to see that trend change. Give them their flowers.
I agree. Give them their flowers. Yes.
This, okay, I think it was satire, but I saw something like this on TikTok where it was like Blackpink's MV has like 1 billion views and Michael Jackson's only has 27, like Legendary Queens. And the person was like, Michael Jackson was on MTV in the 80s. Like, the YouTube numbers don't matter.
Okay. Rest in peace,
I was hoping it was satire. I was really hoping that was satire. But like, there are people that talk like that are like, oh, we got fucking 100 million streams in a week. We are the best. Like, no.
No. Like, okay, rest in peace to Michael Jackson. If he were still alive till this day, outselling everybody still.
Do not disrespect Michael Jackson's music industry, like, contributions, my guy. Even as a joke, like
he has done so many things for the music industry, that Janet Jackson as well. And I'm just like, dude, you have no idea what they've done for the industry and how massive they are.
I feel like the newer K-pop groups fans don't understand that this infrastructure on YouTube is new. It has not been a thing. Mm-mm. And it also has no bearing on what is actually like a cultural impact and what is not. Because the only reason we are here today is because of the groups before them. Mm-hmm. So you can't be saying shit like Stray Kids is better than 2 p.m. because they've gotten so much further. Like, no, bro. Like, it's not.
They debuted at different years.
It's not the same playing field. It's two different situations in how the media is. So streams don't matter. And honestly, album sales don't either, in my opinion, because people mass buy shit now in a way that they didn't in previous generations. So just because, like, for example, Stray Kids outsold an earlier 2 p.m. album doesn't mean that they have more impact on the K-pop industry. Each of them has their own impact in their own way, and it is not related to sales or the streams of songs or YouTube music videos. That's just not how it works.
Mm-hmm. Like, and also just like thinking about it, it's just like, you do realize that these second and third gen groups, the kids now are literally like, these are their idols. They grew up with these people, just like how like in like second gen groups, their idols are the idols who came before them, like HOT, Finkel, all of them. They looked up to these particular, original groups, who came before them, and they're like, they've covered their songs. And now here we are in this new generation or new era of kids who are covering songs that are coming from 2 p.m. or Girls' Generation, or even as early as Twice now. They're like, these groups, these long established groups are like influencing the new groups that are coming out here. They're like, isn't it wild to think like there are groups that are coming out right now, for example, that look up to 80s?
Yes, that is
like
wild.
That is just like, whoa. But and 80s hasn't been around that long either, but it's what the impact that they have. It's the impact that these groups have had over the years that makes, this whole thing thrive. and they're like, I want to be like said group. And so you cannot compare the numbers necessarily. And also just different eras, different access to things. So
you've
it's just
watched globalization happen through K-pop generations, literally. So if you came in this newest generation, like you're a COVID fan, you have no idea what life was like before TikTok, before fucking V Live. I was there before V Live was a thing.
I know, right? Remember when they launched it?
Yes, like, it I do. Very clearly. I was watching V Lives in my car on the way to like waiting for classes in college. Like that's how, when it came out. And like, it's the structure is completely different. So no, your 4th gen group is not doing better than earlier generations, not making more impact. It's not. They are capitalizing on the foundation that was presented before them. And that is how industries grow. So it does bother me when like people try to pretend like even first generation, like fucking God, HOT, BoA weren't the reason that everything happened.
Right. Like
you would not have like fucking, who's a good example? I don't want to say Stray Kids again because I use them already.
No, like an example is idols in Korea transitioning into the Japanese market wouldn't have been possible without BoA. Let's be real. If BoA didn't go off into Japan to promote and do stuff solo at like 14, 15 years old in Japan, we wouldn't be where we are now.
If Wonder Girls hadn't come to open for fucking Jonas Brothers, we would not have the tours we do now.
Yeah.
So like, respect your elders, children.
Because guess what? Your idols, those are their elders, and they have so much respect for them. There is the culture behind seniority in Korea. So, you know, I this whole idea of 2nd gen, 3rd gen flops. Where have you seen their numbers back then?
Dude, where? BTS is a 3rd gen. What the fuck are you talking about? Flops.
Like, and it's just like it's just like, how are they flops when you look at groups like Highlight who are returning and they still have a solid, couple thousand people coming out to support them, and they're still having fan meetings, and they're still doing this, they're having concerts. So you can't say shit because they're still bringing people out to their shows.
Honestly, I just think it's kids with inferiority complexes that say these things. So ignore them because they're wrong. Like objectively, there's no like, this is not subjective. It's objectively wrong. So if you are a K-pop fan, do your research on the previous generations and what they did to bring your fave here, because it was them. It was not your fave alone. So that's what I have to say about that.
So this submission is: all entertainment companies need some kind of cultural accountability officer or office to make sure that idols and staff are kept in check with their production so that nothing deemed offensive makes it into photo shoots, clothing, hair, makeup, promotional ads, music videos, lyrics, etc. K-pop isn't just a local industry.
Okay, in theory, good idea. In practice, that office would probably just be ignored. Not to say like because it's a bad idea, but just because the way that Korea is structured is very different from the West, right? And their culture is very different. So even if they had somebody that was like, hey, you probably shouldn't do this, they'd be like, well, whatever, it's fine. So like, even if they instilled that, I doubt that like the CEO would listen to it. Like, just to be honest, like they are still way behind. Progressively, they are way, way, way behind the West. Yeah. Which is why these things keep happening. And like, I don't know if there's like a right answer to that.
Me either. Like, I definitely like, I'm in the realm of yes, like be very mindful and respectful to, whether it's somebody's hair or pieces of clothing, or even putting props into certain music videos or using certain sounds. Like, you should know, like some things shouldn't just be a stock.
You should like know what you're doing.
Exactly.
That's like a good general rule, is to like have knowledge about what you're putting in something. And they probably don't, because for the longest time, Korea was like a closed culture. So they're still like, they're way behind figuring shit out being globalized.
Yeah. So it's this one's a hard one, because it's just like, yes, I do agree there should be some sort of accountability and some sort of way to just like, hey, this isn't okay, let's check this, let's review this before we even, put it in something that we're going to be using for music video promotion, whatever. I do agree. It's just
but just knowing how organizations work or how businesses work in general, like, makes it difficult practically, because many organizations don't run as they should. So, and it's all about the word at the top. So if the word at the top says, I don't care, then it'll get through.
Yeah. Like, I would love for this to be more of a thing. I think we all do. It's just, how do we make it more, how do we put
practical
on? Yeah. How do
like
we put
actually like
do this?
Act it like how happen. Right. Because theory and practice, two very different things.
Yeah. So it's just like, so here's our mission, or here's the call to action of, okay, we want this to happen. We need to start, moves need to be made.
It could work if like the higher ups are open to it.
Yeah.
So like if there is a company that thinks this is a good idea to implement it, it could work. But if it's something they feel they're forced to do, like, just knowing old people at the top are very stubborn about change, especially. So it would be great, but I think we're very far from that being a reality.
Yeah, it's still a climb to have it happen. Like, so, I mean, all we can do right now is call them out, call this shit out as is. Create enough of a ruckus to be like, hey, this is not okay, and keep telling them this is not okay. And
that's kind of where we are in like the cycle growth of change, essentially. So I know it's like, it gets tiring, but that's kind of the only way to change things.
And so like, and also, okay, so we're going to put it out there too. It's just like, okay, tell us what you think should happen as you're listening to this. We would love to know what you think, and how can we even make it something we can change within the industry.
All right, let's move on to, here's the next one that I have.
Okay.
I love consuming Korean content, but people tend to paint a false picture of what South Korea is really like, especially for non-Koreans. People tend to gloss over the microaggressions, homophobia, unrealistic beauty expectations, alcoholism, etc. This also, I feel like, stems back to younger people also, because like the older you get, the more you realize that like every society sucks. Like there's something in every society that's terrible and it's awful. And it's like a grass is greener mentality. You're not going to fix your problems by moving to Korea, I promise. Like, you're going to have the same problems that you have in the United States in Korea, plus more, because there are like a lot of expat creators now that sort of expose what life is like in Korea. And even as like a white person, it's bad, but I'm sure it's like 10 times worse. for other POC.
Yeah. So it's just, it's hard, because it's like, we're only seeing what media puts out.
Right. Which is never going to be the truth.
It's never 100%. You're only seeing a fraction of what it is. And so, and I think it applies to if you like any other culture, like, anime culture, like people like, oh, I want to move to Japan because there's all of these things from anime and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, not like that. Like, if anything, like, yes, there is a presence of anime in Japan, but that does not mean that it's everywhere.
You see a segment of a whole, essentially. So you see one piece of a like 1,000 piece puzzle. It's not the same thing. And that's true anywhere. That's why you should not idolize any location. Not to be like nihilistic or anything, but every place has its problems. Every single one.
America does too. Just saying. Us Americans.
That's why I said every single one.
So
there's problems everywhere. You're not going to escape. There's no utopia. Utopia does not exist. Dreamcatcher said it in Odd Eye. No more utopia. There's no utopia. So
yeah,
Korea is not going to fix your problems. And you might find some things that are even worse than where you are now if you're a foreigner. So if you go, just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Even in like the most touristy places, wherever you go, there are people who on things that are still bad. You know, there are things that target foreigners specifically, no matter where you go, if it's especially a touristy attraction. Bad things are lurking in the shadows, unfortunately.
Plus, like, Korea is so homogeneous that isn't like 98 of the population that lives there Korean specifically. It's like something like 95 or 98. It's in that range. So that makes you an even like smaller portion of the population and stick out even more, because if you're not Korean, like, it's obvious. Pretty much.
Like you definitely stick out as a foreigner. Like, you will stick out, and like, unfortunately, like, no country is safe from this. There's a lot of racism that happens, especially against foreigners. And also, like, remember, you know your place. You're in a country that is not your home country. You should be respectful of that country's culture. You are not above or better than anybody else. Just putting that out there. You are not. You need to humble yourself before you get to that new country, because things are not like from your home country at all. You should be respectful.
I feel like people like idolize living in a different place than they do now, just because like being alive is hard enough. Like,
and then also you see things on social media where like, oh, that destination looks cool. That, like, you when you do scroll, you're like, ooh, like, oh, here's like a place you should visit when you come. While those are cool, it's cool because you're just like, oh, I want to put that on my list, but that's only a small little thing.
Yeah. So I think anytime sometimes I get those like pop-up pages on Facebook that are like, oh my God, I want to live in Korea, like the fucking K-drama stupid fan pages or whatever. And I'm like, stop.
Oh, and do some research on some of the places that you're going to.
Yes. Do a lot of research, actually.
Do a lot of research, because, while it may be aesthetically cute, there might be some things that are hidden amongst them that you're like, oof.
That is very true about Mexico. As a person that has family in Mexico, be careful. They like to put the best stuff forward, essentially. So
tourism, that's how it works. They will put whatever's marketable out there first.
Exactly. And so will media. So Korea is not a utopia. That's the point. So
no places. They have nice spots, but that doesn't mean that everything's perfect. No country is perfect. The next one is, oh, okay. This is quite an opinion. Full English song should not count as successful K-pop songs.
Agree. Hard agree. Like, I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. Hard agree. Because to me, it is specifically marketed to the Western like media space. Therefore, it's not like Korean music. They're marketing it on purpose to get the English people, like English speaking people, to latch onto it. So,
and then get into the whole K-pop shit.
Right. So to me, if a K-pop song is going viral, it should be in the original form in Korean. That's just what it should be.
Though I do appreciate an English version here and there. It's like, oh, that's true.
Cool. Take Me Home. ATEEZ's Take Me Home. Fucking banger. Both in Korean and in English. Love that song. But in general,
I actually really like ITZY's English songs. I'm just like, hey, wait, these are bangers in English too. Like, hold on. Like, I could get behind this. And like, yeah, it's because they're attempting to still break it into the Western media. And so
it's like K-pop, but it's not, because it's not.
Yeah.
And
it's from a K-pop group.
Yeah, but it's not in their native language. So it should be in their native language, in my opinion.
I think we should definitely take out, it's a successful song. Let's just not say it's a successful K-pop song. It's just a successful song, or an English song, or even if they decide to do it in a different language, like, hey, shout out to GOT7 for doing it in Spanish, by the way, for one of their songs.
That was the best. Yes. When they put that out, I was so fucking excited. Like, that was the first time I ever saw Spanish. I was like, yes.
Right? Like, so it's just like they're catering to their audiences, and I appreciate that, so let it be successful songs of their original songs, but it's just not necessarily under the K-pop umbrella in this case, because I can see somebody else saying, well, are they K-pop still? That brings up that debate of,
they are a K-pop group, but the song is not K-pop because it is English.
Yeah.
So that's
a whole another debate to have. But yes,
the person that put this in, I was like, you're right, and you should say it, because I know who put this one in. But yeah.
So it's just like, I agree that it shouldn't be called a successful K-pop song. It's just borderline, like, it's a successful release from the group.
Yeah, just take the
phrase K-pop
the phrase
out. Just take that out. They're still a K-pop group. That doesn't diminish who they are, because they are originally K-pop. It's just not a K-pop song that you like. It's a K-pop song translated into English, essentially, and is being marketed to catch people here in the West. Be like, oh, the song is in English. I want to see more of this group now. It's either they have more English songs, or I know that they're a K-pop group. Let me give K-pop a chance.
Okay, we're on to the last one. Let's try to do this one in like 5 minutes so we can have like a clean cut. Okay. So this last one is very specific.
This is very specific.
The statements are very specific. Don't shoot me for saying this.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, disclaimer. We are the messengers. This is not our opinion. Okay. This is not our opinion. It is somebody else's, and it's all anonymous. We don't know who sent this in.
Nope. Okay. So here we go. It's a list. GD and Top led the idol fine art collector movement. Tasha, who is Yoon Mire, is the best female vocalist and rapper. CN Blue is better than Day 6 in their primes. Bang Chen looks nothing like Wonho. Hoota's body is better than Wonho's. Yes, I agree with that. Sorry, I do. GD is the king of K-pop. And then in parentheses, it says, I'm dead if it's not anonymous. It's okay. It's anonymous. You're not dead.
It is. You're fine.
I'll take the fall, apparently, because I'm sure somebody could cut me saying those things and be like, this is your opinion, but it's fine. Whatever. Hoota's body is better than anything I've ever seen. So I'm just gonna say that as facts.
For those who don't know who Hoota is, it is the alternate ego of BTOB's Minhyuk, by the way.
And I'm in love with him.
He just decided to, like, hello, I'm here again. And I'm just like, oh, he took us all by surprise. Like, oh, we knew, but God, we needed this reminder.
Honestly, I think his titties are bigger than mine. Like, am I wrong now?
Listen, but I was not expecting you to say that. I'm so shocked. This is the one time where Roxy can get me to be this way. Usually I always manage, the one-liners are always from me, and I managed to leave Roxy speechless, but now I'm turning red. So I'm just like, listen, hold on. You caught me off guard by saying that.
I'm so glad that I was able to do that. I'm thinking about the music video. Okay. If you haven't seen the Boom music video, go look at it. I think he has bigger titties than a lot of us do.
Him and Wonho.
That's true, but I don't know how to explain it.
Big titty committee, as Big Matthew says.
True.
He said it.
True.
He inducts them.
But on the topic of his body being better than Wonho's, I don't know how to explain it. but there's just something about the way that he is, like aesthetically, that makes him.
It's to somebody's preference, though.
It is a preference, technically,
it's a
yes.
Preference.
So there's no right or wrong answer here. I just think it's facts. So it's also my preference.
Yeah.
Personally.
Like, you know what? Hey, I'm just going to say both of them look so good. Hey, keep doing you. Don't let anybody say that you're either too big or you're too bulky or whatever. Keep doing you. You know why? Because that makes you happy.
True. You know, facts.
That's your body.
Question. Were people saying Bang Chen looks like Wonho?
Who said that? This is the first time I'm hearing that.
Yeah, same. Because they don't look anything alike. So
they don't. I mean, Chan in his own right, he's very like broad shoulder, like big arms. I mean, like, but who's saying that? Who's comparing them like that?
I guess people online are.
I don't know.
I haven't seen that one.
Like, it's just like they all look great. Can't you just bask in that?
Yeah, we don't need to compare.
No need for comparison because they all look good, in my opinion.
GD as the king of K-pop, I think, is an opinion that a lot of people hold that don't speak it these days. But I think that's a pretty common one.
I'm just like, whoever sent this in, they've been a fan for quite some time.
Yeah, I know. I know it's somebody that's been here for a long time.
They've been here for a long time. This is not a newer K-pop fan. I will say that. There's a lot of us among them, so we don't know who this is. And I was just like, I can tell whoever just submitted this, definitely they've been around for quite some time. Enough to know. Yeah, like there are definitely people who have that opinion. I just don't like putting a title like that.
Yeah, I get
putting
that.
Titles.
Like, it's no one has to be the best. Like, we're all in this shit together. Like, it's just people making music. We don't need to have hierarchies, in my opinion, either. So that one is a pretty common one. Can't really comment on the CN Blue because I was not there for their heyday. So
see, I was, and I'm just like, they're two different bands. The aesthetics are different.
I feel like people compare bands a lot more because there's less in general.
If anything, I would have understood, like, not to say, like, either way, Basic, CN Blue, really good bands. But back then, the comparison was FT Island, CN Blue, because they came from the same label. Literally.
Actually the same label?
Before, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know they were, like, their heydays were at the same time.
Yeah. No, wait, no. Were they? I could be wrong. Sorry, it's been so long. I forgot if FT Island moved.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Either way, they were around the same time. CN Blue came after FT Island. There were a lot of comparisons. Back then. So it's hard because it's just like they debuted at different times too. So I can't really say who's better or not because I think it also depends on the style of their music that, like, FT Island, pure ballad because of Hunky. Mans can sing, he can sing a lot of people out the door, but just like how I feel like, how do I say this? I feel like Day 6, I feel a lot more emo. When it comes
their songs are very emo.
Like when it comes to them. Whereas not to say that Day 6 hasn't come out with like happy songs. I just feel like when it comes to CN Blue, they have happier releases.
They were very big back in the day as well. Yeah. They had a couple of them did like acting stuff, if I remember correctly. They
still are.
They still are. It's just like I like history, so I like reading up on shit. So it's just like basic stuff that I know. But yeah. So I mean,
and it's just like I don't like putting these titles on them, but like I will say respect to Yoon Mi-rae because she is a pioneer.
She was. That is the important thing. She was one of the big pioneers for K-hip hop. Yeah. So I think it's
her credit.
It's fair to like give that label to have that opinion. that she's the best. But if you don't agree, you at least should, respect that she was very important in the foundation of the genre itself.
Yes, she's done a lot, and she's still making moves till now. People still recognize her. She's getting invited to these parties, Hey, she was just at J-Hope's party, so
dude, J-Hope had the most dope party. Are you kidding? All the people that were there, fucking jealous.
I'm like, I just want to be there. Like, like, let me in. In terms of all like big names are in there, and you're just like, that party must have been fun. They look like they were having fun. Anyway,
they did. Jungkook was lit as fuck.
Had so much fun. They all did. And for the comment about GD and Top leading the fine art collector movement, I kind of have to agree. Like, at least from when I was knowing about it and got into them, I know that they've always been into this.
Are there other idols doing that now? Because I feel like there's not, but
I still feel, like the only other person who's like a big fine art or like artsy collector is RM.
Okay. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Like, that's the only person who's like into that kind of stuff. Like, sure, like there are idols who collect bear bricks or Kraze or Takashi Murakami, sure, but like on the level of what GD and Top have for their collections and what they've done, like they did, like maybe it's because they're just older. Why is it as we get older we like these fine art things? Like, and also like from an interior perspective, it's just like that looks cool. What do you want to keep like certain art pieces in your house? The older you get, right? Some people, depending. But so I like, at least just from being a fan for so long, I agree, because they were like one of the only people that I knew that was doing this. Are there other people now who are collecting? Yes. But the only other name I can associate with doing fine art collections is RM.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even on my radar, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, so can't say it's wrong or right.
Yeah. But yeah, that is the hot takes, the anonymous hot takes, unpopular opinions. Again, do not shoot the messengers. These are all anonymous. We have to keep reiterating this. We are just reading out what was submitted anonymously. We, for the most part, do not know who submitted this. We do know at least somebody put their name for one of them, but we are not going to be revealing them.
Yeah, I only know it because like I talked to her about it. That was the only one I know. I don't know anybody else. So.
We don't know anybody else's in here. If anything, we don't even know. Roxy could have submitted something and I could have submitted something, but we don't know. But like, we just don't know who submitted this. Please be kind. Please be kind, but also let us know your thoughts. We'd love to know what you think about some of these takes that are happening, and we'd like to have a well-respected and a polite discussion. Please.
If you are open to that, if you want to talk to us about your opinions, do leave a comment on the video under here, and let us know.
And yeah, that's, I mean, a lot of them I think are still just topics I think should be talked about in general. Like what people submitted today, and after reading them, it's just like, I think these are conversations that need to happen and should be happening, and we should be thinking about these kinds of things. It's just not done enough. And like the fact that like we know like, oh, people are gonna get some heat. Like if somebody were to go online and post this online on social media, it would be a heyday.
Yeah, it always is, and it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. Like, it really shouldn't be. So again, please do not shoot us messengers. We are just reading this out, and while we have certain opinions, it's just an opinion, and it doesn't make us bad people. It doesn't make these people bad people at all. Just be kind to each other, please, for God's sakes. Please be kind. Cannot stress that enough. Anyways,
with that, I think we're good to get out of here. So we will see everybody in our next episode. This has been the Krazecast. Join us next time.